Hey guys, what's going on? Watomarmelon back here again. As always, if you guys enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe to my main channel, all that sort of stuff. But today we have a market watch for March 19th. A lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm going to start off with some modern sets and talk about my feelings about these sets, and then we'll get into some all kinds of ultimate rares. Sort of the second half of this video, hopefully, will be all about ultimates. So, starting things off, we have Maze of Memories, the most recent set. Of course, Baron de Fleur is atop the set. Extremely expensive card right now. I don't know where this card will end up because it's a playable card, and it's a little bit difficult for a collector to sort of predict where playable cards are going to be in some time. And I imagine as soon as this sort of gets phased out of competitive viability, it probably won't be that important or that expensive. But right now, it must be the case that this card is competitively viable and is at an extremely high price point of $239 for the lowest copy. Cool looking card. I've seen an image of this card in Collector Rare. It looks incredible, but that's expensive for my taste for sure. Then we have Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. I have some of these in the Japanese Starlight Rare version. At $84, I think this one's going to drop a lot. I don't know if it's playable in hero decks. If it is, then I imagine it might have some chance at sustaining a higher price point, but you can really see that the number of listings for this card is quite high relative to some of the other cards like Baron and Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. So I'd imagine that it's going to drop. It has a lot of room to go for sure at $84 lowest listing. Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, I don't know. I'm assuming that this is some playable card. It's a Stardust Dragon, so maybe there are some collectors after it, but I imagine most collectors are not paying $100 on release weekend for a card like this. It's probably just playable. Blackluster Soldier, Legendary Swordsman. This is one that I've seen a lot of collectors go after. Again, I picked up a couple of the Japanese Starlight Rare versions. It's a really cool looking card, has a cool looking artwork, and the Collector Rare foiling is done well, but I'm not sure where it's going to end up. I imagine if it's not playable that it's probably more like a $50 card tops. I can't really see it sustaining a price higher than that, but maybe Maze of Memories was really underordered. I don't know. I just can't see it sustaining $70 price points. Guardian Chimera, I know that this is a playable card. Solemn Judgment, this is one that, I can rant. I'm probably going to do an entire video on this, what Konami is doing with these cards, but this has a modern Ultimate Rare printing. What is it doing? What is Konami doing printing it as a collector's rare so soon after its Ultimate Rare printing? I just don't see a point to it. It's a card that was accessible in a lot of cool rarities. There's a secret rare, there's a gold ghost rare that isn't very expensive. There are tons of ultra rares. I don't really see a need to print this in another high rarity, especially when there's a modern Ultimate Rare that, while expensive, I don't think warrants sort of a rare modern version because we already have one. And then the rest of this stuff there's not a whole lot to say. I guess there's Gate Guardian, 12 listings. Whenever I see a small number of listings, it tells me that there's quite a demand at this price point, and it's, about $50. I really don't know where this card will end up. I think that this was a good choice, as opposed to Solemn Judgment. Gate Guardian, while certainly not the most playable of cards, I don't even know if you might play it as kind of a garnet in the actual strategy released in Maze of Memories for Gate Guardian with its new support, but it's primarily, I'm going to assume, a collector's card. But I like it as a collector rare printing because its highest rarity previous to this was its original secret rare. So I think it's nice to give it a more modern flavor, especially when there aren't many rarities that compete with it, with the exception of that first edition Metal Raider secret rare, which is going to be way more expensive than this will ever be. And then the rest of them, I don't really have too many opinions on it. A lot of modern stuff. Dual Academy, I don't know why this was a collector rare. I just think it's kind of a bizarre card. Very cheap, well under $20 already. Who knows where it will end up, but I can't imagine this being an expensive card. So there's a lot to see where this ends up at, but there's some cool stuff here. I'm not going to pick any of it up while it's so new, but there might be some that I have my eyes on in the future. Namely, the Gate Guardian is something that I think is really, really cool. Also, this Utopia card is actually something I find pretty cool, so I might pick that one up as well. Next up, we have Battles of Legend, Crystal Revenge. Obviously, the main cards to look at are the Exodia pieces. Still extremely expensive cards, but you can see that the number of listings is starting to go up on all of these different pieces. I'm just wondering, when does this thing fall out? I think that it's kind of a ticking time bomb. I think it was the newest, brightest, coolest thing a couple of months ago, and a couple years from now, I don't see how it maintains its same amount of luster. However, it's a hard set to pull. The Starlight Rares in this set were one per case. So, you're on average looking at, well, if you're mass case opening, you're getting these, it's going to take 5 cases or so at minimum to get these. But I don't know where it goes from here. Hard set to pull, but we'll see. It's difficult to sustain extremely high price points. Excuse me, I don't know why I just stuttered. The rest of the Starlights aren't super interesting to me, besides Yatagarasu, still under $150. Cool card, but, I don't mind it as a Starlight Rare by any stretch of the imagination, but, I think there's a niche audience for that one. Toon Blackluster Soldier and Secret Rare, I really like this card. This is one that I might pick up for my own modern collection because it's very cheap, $7 or so for a secret rare of a really, really cool modern card. And for me, Toon Chaos is a set that I have is one of the big sets right after me getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think highly of Toon Chaos, and this is kind of the main monster from that set. The rest of the set, very, very cheap. Maybe some penny stocks. I'm not really going to speculate on those. Ghosts from the Past 2. I always have to bring this set up because I just have to. You can see that some of the cards are actually making a rebound. I was looking at Cyber Dragon before I started the video. You can see that it's making a small rebound. There was a point where I think it was getting below $50 for Near Mint First Edition. Already almost approaching $60 again, so it seems like it's rebounding quite a bit. Overall, just a set to keep your eye out for because, I just think that these cards look quite nice, even though other people don't. I think they do, and I think that they're pretty cheap. So I think as more collectors come into the hobby, these are the cards they're probably going to be targeting, if I had to guess. Next up, Amazing Defenders, purely just is continuously getting bought out. I don't know where a card like this ends up long term, but there's a chance because I know I do believe that this is actually like a viable strategy, not, a meta defining strategy for the card game, but something that people are actually playing and are getting rogue amounts of success with. 4 listings, people are buying it out. It's possible that this card becomes something that people remember and it has some amount of, I don't want to say notoriety, but I think people are going to remember this card, and it is something that maybe down the road will be something that people or collectors want because it sort of it becomes an important modern card for whatever reason. Who knows? I don't know if the buyouts can last forever, but they've lasted until now. I thought this was going to be like a $20 to $30 card. It's an $100 card, so shows what I know. Even the ultra rare is, pretty low on quantity. Who knows? This every purely card is basically bought out, so we don't know where this will end up. And it seems like one of the important things is that no one's opening Amazing Defenders, and not a lot of people bought into Amazing Defenders, so there aren't a ton of these out there, which is probably why the supply is so low. Next up, we have Magnificent Mavens. Always blows my mind how much people are willing to pay for these Pharaoh rare cards. I just don't think that they're that good. Even, ones that I thought were well done, like Seal of Orichalcos. I don't know why the Ultra Rare is so much more expensive than the Secret Rare. Just doesn't make sense to me. I think the Secret Rare looks much nicer. It might be that more North American displays were printed than European displays because Europe got the Ultra Rare, North America got the Secret. Also, I'm sure some of this has to do with the fact that not many of the European ultra rares have been imported to America, North America, that is. So there aren't a ton listed on TCG Player, and people are too lazy to try and order from Card Market, or just don't want the hassle. So surprising, but I don't think that's a real price that's going to sustain itself. But who knows? All these ultra rares are super super high in the amount of value that they hold. Toon Kingdom. I remember some time ago I watched a market watch where a guy said that this was going to go to the moon. It was going to be $100 plus, $200 plus card. I kid you not. And I remember watching it and be like, this guy's on crack. And lo and behold, this card, people are buying play sets at $34. People are buying copies at under $30. Currently, the lowest listed is $31.50 plus shipping. I mean, I don't know why they printed this as an ultimate rare. If we look at the different versions of this card, you can get it as an original print secret, and it's still not that expensive. I know it got up very high before it got these reprints, but it just surprises me. Why they printed it as an ultimate. It actually, the ultimate rare has the most listings of any of these, so it might be interesting to see where this one ends up, because the ultra rares, I know they're the colored ultra rares as well, but the ultra rares are getting quite low in quantity and still are quite expensive. The rares are also more than $10, which is a bit surprising, but interesting to look at. Now we'll get into ultimate rares. I realize I've already talked for 11 minutes, so I'll try to make this a little bit prompt. So looking at near mint, unlims for the Gene Warped Warwolf, not werewolf. I always love these vanilla ultimate rares. This is just a really, really cool card in my opinion. $15 for a near mint unlimited ultimate rare, but only $17.50 for the near mint first edition. I don't know if Strike of Neos is one of the sets where the unlimited ultimate rares are all incredibly detailed in their foiling. I think that might be Enemy of Justice, but it could also be Strike of Neos. Just, this is a cool card in my opinion, but I'm a bit surprised at the differential between Unlim and First. Cool card. I love my vanillas, so it's one that I always like checking in on. You can see that the sort of price drop has been somewhat significant, but it's still a cool card. Cyber Dragon Ultimate Rare. I think this graph is a bit misleading, but you can see that there have been quite a few sales in the previous months of Near Mint First Edition. It seems like one per month at around $650. This is one that was staying at above $1,000 or $800 for a long time. Now you can see there's still some listed at $650, but as you saw, the sales rate seems to be one per month, so it's possible that these get taken off the market and we start approaching higher prices. Also possible that people try to get out from underneath some bad investments that they had, and try to throw these into the market. We'll see. I don't really have any anticipation of where this card's going to go. One of the most iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards from the GX era, so it's interesting to look at. Next up, we have Elemental Hero Stratos. That is not the plot you want to see if you own this card, but if you're thinking about buying, it seems to be stabilizing a bit in recent months after a pretty substantial drop half a year ago. You can get these for around $130. I know this has a Starlight as well. Maybe this will pop up when I do all versions. Maybe, I know this has a Starlight now that I think about it. So we're just going to do this because it won't show up for whatever reason. Okay, so the Starlight Rare is actually rebounding quite a bit. Shows that people seem to generally prioritize Starlights and think that they're more value than Ultimate Rares. Harder to pull, but obviously core sets get printed so much more than these OTS packs. But I'd still assume that the Starlight Rare is the rarer version, and the price certainly reflects this, as this seems to be the more premium of options. Brain Control, this is just a fun one. I love Brain Control. You can see that there have been a number of sales of Near Mint First Edition and Light Play First Edition copies over the past couple of months. If we look at Near Mint copies, actually over 200 for the first English copy, and then you get up to 230, 220, 230 after this. So A card to keep your eyes on if you wanted this in your collection. Mobius the Frost Monarch, one of my favorite cards of all time. Um, Near mint on limbs. Wow, this is actually much more expensive than I remember it. So $90 for a near mint on limb. That's kind of mind blowing. But the first edition has come down a bit. Still quite expensive for what it is. $165, and then you can actually get PSA 9s for $240. So if you're a collector, paying the extra $100 might be something to think about, because my experience with TCG Player Near Mint for some of these cards is not great. So we'll see. Divine, I don't know why I tried to say the full name. Zeus, Ultimate Rare, a pretty cool card from a pretty recent OTS pack. This is one that was pretty cheap for the longest time, like a $45, $50 card. I don't know if the graph will reflect it. Yeah, got around $40 for a while, and now it's really gone up in price. Cool looking card. You can see that the lowest listing's around 75. I don't know where this will end up. I'm a bit surprised that it's really spiking in price, given that there's a 25th or quarter century secret rare, essentially another Starlight rare, around the corner. I don't know how hard it's going to be, how hard it is going to be to pull it, but it seems a bit surprising that this ultimate rare will spike. It might be because people are trying to, I don't know, people are afraid that the new quarter century secret rare essentially just adds a lot more supply of the Starlight rare to the market, and people are trying to get away from the Starlight rares and go into the ultimate rare, which won't get a new printing. I don't know. It's hard to rationalize. Maybe this is just the affordable high rarity option, and this is a super playable card and people want it in ulti. I don't know, but cool looking card, definitely an iconic modern card, and one to keep your eyes out for. Pot of Greed, ultimate rare out of Duelist Pack Kaiba. We're going to finish out with another Duelist Pack Kaiba card. Near mint on limb Italian at 60. You can see some white plays around 55 or so. On limb near mint English is going to be 66 on your lowest listing. And then first edition, it's come down quite significantly. This is now $212. This thing used to be, I think, $300, $400. I don't know if we can go back far enough to see that. Let me filter these to first edition, ultimate, near mint, view sales. Okay, so we can't see any. So no sales, probably why it's come down so much. I don't know. I don't know why this card was so in demand for some time. I still think it's an amazing card. I understand the demand. I'm just surprised that the demand has all of a sudden dried up, because I think this is an incredible collection piece. Next up, we have Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End out of Duelist Pack Kaiba. First edition near mint. I don't know if there have been any sales on that recently. Let's see. Maybe we just need to do first edition. Okay, so that might have been it. Yeah, so this was a $300 card, 4 months ago? Right now, you can see that this is going for around $240. Lowest listing, near mint, ultimate rare, first edition. Very cool card, but when you look at the first printing Invasion of Chaos secret rare, there's a listing for $200. This to me is crazy how cheap this card has gotten. In fact, probably by the time this video is uploaded, I've bought this copy, because this seems like a crazy price for this card. Could just be me, could be the seller. I did look at the seller's feedback before recording this, because I was just mind blown by the price on this when I loaded it up. And they do have some negative feedback, but, even though it says 100% right now, that's not completely accurate. Still, I think it's worth it, and then just returning it, because that's an incredible price point right there. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Watomarmelon, and peace out.